you can see, I failed a lot of times. It was not only me, currently, at right this moment, but getting back to the session. Now, again, Yuri said to you, many people talk about how great they are, how many success they have, but very few people talk about failure. And today, I really want to focus a bit more on failure. Yet again, just to be sure that this works now, how many of you have failed in something important to you? Let me see. Okay? Now, I want you to do me a quick favor. Can you kind of bring back the emotion that you felt when you failed? I want to see it on your face. How does it feel? How does it feel to fail? Do you remember? How does it feel? Yeah? It sucks, right? I failed a lot of times when I started 356 Labs. And the reason I failed, to be honest, I really don't know why exactly I failed, but probably it's because I'm not coming from the business field. I came from the IT field. I had crazy career in the IT field. I was speaking all across the world, charging crazy amounts of money for my services, etc., etc. But I was not a business guy. I haven't operated businesses. I haven't done any business before. And even though I was reading and I was watching Seth Godin and Guy Kawasaki and Gary Vaynerchuk and everyone else, I wasn't doing, in the real world, I wasn't doing what they were talking about, right? And that's completely different. And so today I want to share with you let's hope it will work. I want to share with you 3 stories of how I felt. And I want you to know, and I hope that you will learn from them, because I felt badly, and I really hope that you won't repeat those mistakes that I did. Okay? Now, let's start with number 1. If this works, of course. Let's start with number 1. My first mistake was, and the first story is the story about the market. What about the market? It's 8th of September 2015. This is the first day I say publicly that there is something that's called 356 Labs. This is the first day Facebook knows about 356 Labs. My friends know that there is such a company. And so, when I announced it, I thought that we are going to have a lot of business. Because while I'm traveling all across the world, I can tell you, and by the way, you know it, that presentations are broken. They just are. And that's it. And I thought that because they're broken at events, at corporations, at big businesses, at companies of all sizes, I thought that, we are going to have business, and we're going to have a lot of business. It turned out that we had our first customer on the 10th day. It was a lovely lady. We did a presentation for her PhD thesis. She defended at the National Sports Academy, but after that, nothing. Like nothing. Everything just died. No business, no customers, nothing. And I was like, what's going on? The world is broken. Presentations are broken. Why is no one reaching out to us for help? Like, why? And then I talked with a friend of mine from Holland, Jeffrey, on Twitter. And I was pushing him to get into their world, to get into their company, because I wanted to train them in presentation design. And he told me something very interesting that flipped my mind very quickly. And what Jeffrey told me was the following. Jeffrey told me, Boris, you don't get it. I'm like, what do I don't get? He says, it's very hard for me to explain to my manager that we need such training. And I was like, wait, how is that possible? Like, what do you mean? And he says the following words. He says, you don't get it. Our world, the world that we see, the presentations that we do, and the presentations that we go to, is all the same. Meaning that we don't know about the fact that there is other world. So we think that our way of presenting is the way to go. This is the normal way. This is what people expect. And then everything changed. This was the moment in which I understood that the market doesn't know that they have a problem. And that confirmed many, many times after this. For example, with some of our biggest banks here in Bulgaria, which actually told me that they present from 15 years, and you know, are you the guy that's going to teach me how to speak? Just because you speak from 15 years doesn't mean you do it well, right? They don't think so. They think they know it already. And at that point, I thought, okay, if we continue to do what we are doing, that's going to be a problem, because we cannot sell you anything, right? If you think you know everything, we cannot sell you anything. And I thought, okay, we need to go and we need to do a step back, right? We need to go and do a step back. We needed to change, we needed to adapt. What we needed to do is to educate the audience. We needed to go step, which I didn't want to do, right? I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to educate anyone. I thought that everyone knows it. And so we planned to educate the audience, to write a lot of blog posts, to do a lot of events, and that's what we did. We executed based on that. I wrote 250 blog posts. I organized so many events. Even till today, we have 3 events every single month. Why? Because we need to educate our market first, that there is a problem, and if we manage to change you, if we manage to change your mind, which is, oh, by the way, very hard, think about it. When someone asks you to change, your first reaction is, no, I'm not changing. I don't want to change, it's fine. So if we manage to change you first, then we may probably be able to sell you something. And that's what we did, and that's what we are doing, even at the moment. However, the results were the following. There are companies nowadays that come to our company and say, we know it's broken, and we know you can fix it, so let's do it. However, we didn't have that. So my first idea for you is, my first lesson for you is, if you are going to start a business, just because you think the market knows that there is a problem, that doesn't actually mean that they know that they have a problem. And so, what you need to do is you need to learn that, you need to change your mindset, and you need to execute towards the goal of them knowing that they have a problem and that you are the people, or you are the company who can solve that problem. But it's you that have to do that. And I understood that very, very, let's say, late. Now, the second story is a very interesting one. The partners. The summer of 2015, I was already building the website of 356 Labs, and I called a friend of mine who is a director in one of the biggest training agencies in Bulgaria. And I shared with him my idea on what we are going to do, and he invited me to lunch. So we went in Mladost 4 in Pizza Ugo, and we talked. And I shared with him what courses we are going to offer, etc. And he said, let's cooperate. And the deal was the following. The deal was a very simple deal, and for us, it was the perfect deal. Why? Because he said, here is how we are going to do it. We are going to market your courses, we are going to sell your courses, we are going to do the whole logistics of your courses. You just come in our office and you lead the training. Then we split 50-50. When I heard that, I was like, let's go, let's do this. That's perfect. Do you know why I said, let's go, let's do this even more? Because this company actually has 7 dedicated sales people. Currently, in our company, we are 3, and we do many things. They have 7 dedicated sales people, and I already started thinking about the fact how they are going to sell our courses all across Bulgaria at the biggest companies in Bulgaria. And so I started imagining how quickly we are going to grow. And I thought, that's great, because I believed them. I trusted them. However, let me tell you what happened. It's now 2017. Let me tell you how many can you guess? If I'm asking, can you guess how many courses they sold for us? Shout out a number. Zero. Zero. Why they have sold zero courses for us? Because on the first month I was waiting, nothing happened. On the second month I was waiting for them, nothing happened. I started developing my materials and everything else. And then on the third month I told them, hey guys, what's going on? Like, we depend on you. We are not doing sales right now. If we don't do anything, we are going to go bankrupt right now. What's going on? And they said, oh, we are restructuring the company. And I'm like, I don't like that. Our courses up until today are not on their website. Up until today. And so I learned that. And then again, as someone who cares about his own business, I thought we need to change. We need to adapt. How we are going to change? We are going to organize all of our courses, all of our trainings ourselves. That's how we are going to do it. If our partners are not going to do it for us, we are going to do it ourselves. And that's what we did. We organized the rooms, we made the payment system work, we made the websites work, we did every single one of those things ourselves. And do you know what happened? Strange things happened. People showed up on those events. And do you know what's even more interesting? They continue to show up. And because we push constantly to develop the courses even better, do you know what happens? What was the most interesting part of those courses? The most interesting part is that sometimes on those courses we have training managers of big companies inside the rooms. And when they leave the room happy, do you know what they sometimes say? Hey guys, can you come and organize and do that training inside our company? So that's how we entered in the business world also, without waiting for our magical partners. So my second advice for you is, don't rely on partnerships, especially for such important things as the sales of your company. Don't rely on partners. Do it yourself. If someone wants to help you out, perfect. Let them do it. But you should be doing it also. And if someone betrays you, like those guys did with me, learn, change, and then execute again. The third lesson, my third story, is when we talk about sales, we talk about sales. My third very big mistake was sales. Sales, as Gary Vee and Guy Kawasaki say, sales is oxygen, right? Sales is oxygen. Money is oxygen. Sales allow you to breathe. Sales, as Guy Kawasaki says, sales fixes everything, right? Very well said. And let me tell you a story about a friend of mine whose name is Stefan. Big shout out to Stefan, who is a master seller. And he's a friend of mine. He's a beast in the world of sales. He's like kind of like me in the world of presentations. I just know that stuff. When I see it, when Deutsche Telekom comes to us and say, we need to do a presentation that will close a multi-million-dollar deal, we do that presentation for them. They close the deal. When my friends come and they have to pitch Zagorka with a startup, they say to me, we either pitch them successfully or we are out of business. We do the presentations so that they pitch successfully and they close Zagorka. I just know that stuff, and I push so hard to know even more every day. He's the same. He can close every deal. And it's an honor to know such a person. And I'm consulting with him every single month. I'm touching base with him. And one day, he invites me to dinner. And I'm coming back from Roche. I spoke at Roche, had some customer meetings. I saw that in my calendar, the slot is free. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I go to that dinner, and to be honest with you guys, I was tired. I just wanted to have some fun. That's it. However, the meeting starts in a completely different way. It starts like this. hey Bobby, it's time for me to tell you something. Bear in mind, he knows all of how our offer looks, our customers, he knows everything that we're doing in terms of sales, right? He starts with the following. He starts with, your whole sales process is broken. And my first reaction in my mind is, again, back to changing people. No, it's not. We're selling. This is my first reaction. My second reaction, however, is, tell me more. And he tells me the problem. The first problem is that our offer looks the following. First page, our company details, your company details, big offer in the middle. Second page, when you flip, your problem, our solution, flip. Then on the third page, we have the solution in detail, fourth page. And the price, of course, fourth page. We don't do anything for free now. So, back then we wanted, but some people said we present for 15 years. Later on, they became our customers. So, fourth page, summary of what we're doing, why it's us that's going to help you. Let's discuss. That's our offer. And he says, you are missing something very important. And I'm like, what? And he says, you have to build trust. This is very practical. Write it down when you start preparing offers. He says, you're missing a very important part in the offer. And I'm like, what? He says, in the offer, the third page, after you explain the problem, you have to say why it's you that is going to resolve the problem. You have to have the bio or the company, who is the company, previous testimonials of previous customers, plus the logos, for example, of previous customers that you worked with. I'm like, wait a minute, why should I have this? When people come to us, they already know who we are. Why should I bother? And he says, you don't get it. This offer that you are writing will go not only to you, it will go to the HR director, it will go to the financial director, and they don't know you. So they have to build trust. And I'm like, okay, we change, we learn, we change, we execute. We did it. Let me tell you after a second what happened. And then he told me my second mistake. How many of you who are working in the real world or have already businesses send their offers over email or have seen people sending offers over email? Raise your hand. Okay, so if you, he tells me the following. He tells me, once you have your offer, because on the next day I have to go to a CEO for a training, to offer them training, he says, you are not going to sell that, you are not going to send that offer over email. I'm like, why? I don't want to call him. He says, no, you are going to call him. And this is the CEO of a very big company. I don't want to call him. I'm not that experienced in sales. I'm not a business person. I don't feel comfortable doing that stuff, not to say another word. So I'm like, can I just send it? He says, no, you're going to call him, and you're going to arrange a meeting with him, and you're going to present the offer in front of him. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And I do that. On the next day, I arrange the meeting, and I go to the meeting, and you know what happens? When we get to the third page, with the bio, with the testimonials, with the customer logos, I explain to him, this is just for your reference. If you have any experience in regards to my experience, please let me know, but this is just for your reference. And he says, oh God, thank you very much that you included this, because I'm sending this offer after that to the HR director. And in my mind, it's like, okay, I got it now. And then we move forward, and then he sees the agenda of the course that we offer, and he starts asking me questions about this and that and this and that, and then asks about Microsoft Sway, an alternative to PowerPoint. We had an event 2 weeks before that on Microsoft Sway, and I'm explaining to him what's Microsoft Sway, and we built trust. Not to mention that we closed the deal. Of course we closed it. However, all of that won't happen if you send it over email. And then, what we started doing, we started repeating that every single time. With Deutsche Telekom, with KPMG, with many other customers. And do you know what the result is? Again and again, we close the deals. So, my recommendation to you is, whenever we talk about sales, which is oxygen, always learn, always strive, always adapt, think constantly how you can do it better. And don't just think, don't just read a blog post and comment, go and try it in the real world. This is crucial. Don't forget that sales is everything. You can have the coolest product on the planet. If you cannot sell it, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I don't like that. To be honest, I don't like that. I don't like doing sales, but I have to. Otherwise, the company will die. So you have to do sales. Now, I wanted to leave you here, but I think that it's very important for me to mention something else. For all of you, almost the whole audience, who plans to have business. That one thing, I call it drama, right? When you start a company, just to give you the context, when you start a company, there will be drama. And there will be drama every single day. And what this means is, I remember a friend of mine from HP, Vladi, he says, hey Boris, I really envy you that you are doing that stuff now and that you are free and you know how it's flexible and you can wake up at 10 and something like this. I'm like, yes, Vladi, I agree. But let me tell you something that's very, very important, Vladi. When you have a problem, and it's a tough problem, do you know what you do? You call your manager, and he fixes that problem for you. Do you know what happens when my team has problems? Do you know what happens when our company has problems? Do you know who I call? No one. As Gary Vee, for all of you who knows him, says, you are going to be the last line of defense. And when you are the last line of defense, no one will help you. And that's sometimes will be problem. Many times I promise you, it's every day. One day there will be a 4,000 euro laptop that you bought, and on the next day you have to return it to Germany. Then on the next day, your accountant calls, there are some documents that are not filled incorrectly, and now your business have problem. Then on the next day, on Sunday morning, my phone rings, and there is a person who is in front of our office waiting for a workshop which was rescheduled. We called his wife because her number was in the registration and she forgot to tell him. However, now he is not happy with us. And he goes, do you know who? You. And you have to figure it out. And that's, I'm not telling you because I want you to think that that's really cool, something like this. I'm just telling you that because I want you guys to be prepared. Because it will happen. My team doesn't even have an idea how many problems I close and I figure out and fix behind the scenes for them to be happy and for our business to run. They have no idea. And they should not have idea. Once you start a business, it's your fault. It's your work. You have to figure it out. And sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes my girlfriend is here. I have the best girlfriend, by the way. She understands me and everything. So she can tell you, I go back at home and it's 10 p.m. and I just touch the bed and I die. I die. It's not because of hard work, it's because emotional exhaustion. And you are going to be in that role too. So, now that you know my 3 mistakes that I fell in, very big mistakes, and once you have this mindset to constantly learn, change, adapt the situation, and not just talk, but also execute the stuff, once you have this mindset in your world, and once you understand that when you're the last line of defense, you will be fighting with drama every single goddamn day. Once you know that, I think you guys are going to be very well prepared, or at least better prepared than most of the people, to start, run, and create successful business. Thank you very much.
Great.
Strating. I'm waiting for my certificate. Let's see.
Do you want first to answer the questions and
Sure, let's go.
then we're gonna decide if you have to have
Let's go. But I don't want to keep you here because it's lunch break, so let's go. Why don't you start an IT business instead? Because presentations is something that I was way more passionate before I got into the IT world. I just applied everything that I learned in the world of presentations to my IT career, and that allowed me to do crazy things. And I did a webinar on presentation design for colleagues of mine in the States, and after that webinar, yet again people started talking to me and explaining how that changed their life, their career, and I was like, shouldn't I try to convert that into business? And because I know myself, I said, okay, let me do my work from 9 to 6, and let me, in the meantime, start the company and see how it goes. And it turned out that it went well, and that's why I shifted. Why did you decide to start a business when you already had a successful career? Why did you decide to start this business when you already had a successful career in another field? That's not a rational decision, guys. You will see it. You will understand me once something like this hits you. It's an emotional decision. I cannot explain it. I did it because I was curious. I did it because I thought that this is better than if I just do IT stuff. I thought that what we are going to do in this company will have it will be more important than me just doing databases, right? For all of you IT geeks who know what the databases are. That's why. It's not because of something else. Any other?
Are there any questions in the audience that you want to ask?
Your business and what the last one, let's do the last one and go for lunch. And if you have any other questions, you will ask me outside. If I hear, do you see yourself on building beautiful decks or evolve your business and what that would be? We are going to continue to do only presentations. We are not a company that does anything else but presentations. Many people do, and probably you know such people, many people do a lot of things. They do time management, they do leadership, they do effective listening, and in that part, they also do presentation skills. How can you be an expert in 5 or 10 different subjects? Can you please explain this to me? Because I don't get it. We do only presentations. We will continue to do only presentations. Now, will that be only on slides? I don't know. Probably HoloLens will come into the game at some point. Or VR, or something else, because if I can put you in the story itself with a VR headset, probably I want to tell you that story too. So we'll see how it goes. Did you have 95 jobs before you decided to start? Yes. 356 labs, not 365. Many people do that mistake. Let's do and get lunch. If you have any questions, guys, let's not keep it here. Let's get out.